Running your own business is awesome. It's the dream, as they say. But it's very stressful as well. Customers, they'll see the front end, the products, the signs, the slogans, the happy owner. But it's the back end of the business that really drives the ship. The inventory management, the sales conversions, order processing and shipping. The business behind the business is the key to business. And for millions of businesses around the world, that business behind the business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're home of the #1 checkout on the planet, which is why so many businesses work with them. And Shopify brings the heat with their secret weapon, Shop Pay, which boosts sales conversions by up to 50%. And that means way fewer carts are being abandoned to checkout and way more sales are going. If you want to grow your business, you better be ready to sell anywhere and everywhere your customers are. Scrolling social media, on your website, in your store, and everywhere in between. It's no secret. Businesses that want to grow with Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Heinz and Mattel use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/RTG, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/RTG to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/RTG. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 328. And Nintendo has somewhat forced my hand. I was looking for something short to play this week for the show, as I'm currently all in on XCOM 2, which I promise is coming next month. We're going to review it in April. That is a big game. If you like Happy Adam, you hang around for that XCOM 2 review. That is going to be something special, I tells you. And Donkey Kong 94, Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, has been among the most requested games I get for this podcast for years. And Nintendo actually added it to the Switch Online library a couple of months ago. And I was like, that's a sign from the gaming gods. I got to play this damn thing. So I finally fired it up. I actually 100%ed it in just 3 or 4 days. And yep. I get the love. I get it. I get why so many people have praised this game. It's everything I like in a game. Donkey Kong is awesome. Mario's there with that whole jumping thing that he does. You're solving puzzles. It's not too complicated, but it's not too easy. It's short. It's fantastic. It is a fantastic game. I would put Donkey Kong on the level of Pokemon, Tetris, Mario Land 2, Link's Awakening as the absolute best that the OG Game Boy has to offer. If by chance you've never played it, it's the predecessor to the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. Also, trademarking it now. A great idea for a YouTube series to catch a predecessor. I like that. Anyways, yeah, it's like the first Mario versus Donkey Kong game. They're puzzle games, and basically you control Mario, and you work your way through these like bite-sized little puzzle levels. Usually the end result is you need to pick up a key from somewhere in the level and then carry it over to a locked door somewhere else in the level without touching any enemies or getting killed or running out of time or falling to your death, the spikes and all those other things. And the puzzles gradually get more and more complicated as you play the game. And then there's some optional bonus items you can pick up in each level if you want to go for 100% just to try to spice it up a little more. Really great little games. If you like puzzles, I've played this one and then I've played the remake on the Switch of the OG Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Love them both. The only issue with them is not a ton of replay value, which for the modern Mario vs. Donkey Kong is kind of like, yeah. But for Donkey Kong 94, it's on Switch Online. It's $20 a year. If you've already got it, I highly recommend checking it out if you like puzzle games. Really, really solid game. My guest this week is a fellow Donkey Kong junkie, my pal Daniel, a.k.a. Stupid Monkey. We both played the more modern Mario vs. DK, but we've never played the original Donkey Kong 94. But then we both fired it up this past week, got completely hooked, ran through it in just a few days. I don't know what else to tell you. It's great. There's two camps. There are people that think this is one of the best Game Boy games in existence, and the people that are wrong. And we'll get there in just a minute because speaking of wrong, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard and consider this your warning. Our intros are long, but they're not that long. They're fun. We talk video games and stuff. They're a good time. And you're free to skip them. And if you try to skip them and then your phone or computer doesn't work and won't let you skip them, please don't DM me mad that it won't let you, because I assure you, there's a true story from behind the podcast. I got an angry DM this week from someone who discovered the show, thought the intro was too long, tried to skip it. Their computer sent them back to the beginning of the show, I guess, and they felt the need to send me an angry message. Well done. You can, if you want to skip it, skip it. If you don't want to skip it, don't skip it. If you try to skip it and the skipping doesn't work, I can barely get a podcast on the internet. I assure you, I haven't done something to stop your phone or computer from skipping it. Fuck. You know what? Every time I get an angry message, I'm going to tack 10 more seconds onto the infamous intro. If I actually did that, well, it wouldn't be that long. We don't get that many. Whatever. I don't care. If you like it, listen to it. If you don't like it, fucking skip it. I don't give a shit. Go to about the 30-minute mark and listen to the game chat if you want to. Let me get my plugs in. Keep our bills on. We have a whole lot of merch. It's awesome. It's designed by my man Joe from 4545 Creative. You can find it all at rememberthegamepodcast.com. If you're interested, it's a great way to support us. And of course, the lifeblood of the Remember the Game savings account is, in fact, our Patreon. And it's not like I'm just asking you for money for nothing. It's money for nothing. No, I'm not going to sing it. I'm not asking for money for nothing. I publish up to 4 additional podcasts every week over on Patreon. They have no ads in them, and you can start listening to them for as little as $3 a month. You can also write into the podcast. You can vote on the games we cover. You can join our 1,000+ member Discord. You get instant access to hundreds and hundreds of archived bonus podcasts, old expansion passes, game patches, rambling idiots, purple monkey dishwashers, and most importantly, you get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm definitely going to do to at least one of these people, maybe only one. A huge thank you to our newest patrons, Anthony, this is the one, Basquet? I'm going Basquet. The Francais, the Basquet. Exotic Chaotic, Retro Wolf, Nerf Herda, Falling Star. That was an easy one and I fucked it up. Falling Star 055, Bryce, and Just James. Shout out to Bryce and Just James for keeping it easy. Appreciate all you so much, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. Find that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some freebies over there if you want to check out what it's all about. Subscriptions start at $3 a month, and if you sign up for a year, I'll give you the 12th month for the low price of free. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always, and we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Mark McHugh's high school phys ed teacher, who said, Adam, you've mentioned before how you regret selling your video game collection from when you were a kid. If you could get back one and only one item from that collection you sold, what would it be? Without question, it would be my Earthbound. I was that fool. I sold that Earthbound. It was part of a larger, they bought a whole bunch of my games off of me, but I would say I probably got about $200 Canadian for that Earthbound. And that was a long time ago. That is probably close to 15 years ago. But I miss it, A, because it was my childhood copy of one of my favorite games ever, and B, because I just don't see myself getting off my wallet and spending what it would cost to get my hands on a copy of Earthbound now. I am one cheap motherfucker. So easily Earthbound, not even a second guess. So stupid. Don't sell your collections unless you need the money. Don't do it. Pee-wee Squitters said, this is a non-video game question, but I wanted to weigh in on this. Pee-wee Squitters said, Adam, being a Sopranos fan, I thought maybe you could shed some light on this from this one. Throughout the last few seasons of the show, they seem to hint that Phil may have done time in the can, but I didn't seem to like to talk about it all that much, and I can't find any concrete evidence of this. Do you know if he did and how long he was there? He did 20 years. Phil Leotardo, he did 20 years. He talks about it a couple of times. And one of his best lines in the series is he was talking with Tony Soprano about compromising on something. Tony says he got to compromise. And I'm going to butcher the line, but Leotardo says something like, you want compromise? 20 years in the can. I don't remember, some kind of pasta or something. He's like, I compromised. I ate grilled cheese off the radiator. I wanted to fuck a woman, but I compromised. I jacked off into a tissue. And yeah, so he said there he did 20 years. So, yeah, he's one of the best characters in late seasons. I like the late seasons of Sopranos. They're not as good as, I think season 2 with Richie is the best season of the show. But I like the late seasons, but Phil carries them. Phil's a great villain. I love Phil Leotardo. That slimy fuck with his eyebrows. And Anyway. Chris Hill is scared that could be anyone's ass. Said, I think Super Mario 64 was played from the perspective of Bowser watching Mario through Lakitu's camera. And that's why you hear Bowser laugh every time you die. That is all. You know, I've heard that theory before, and every time I read it, I'm like, oh yeah. And it blows my mind, because I think you're right. That makes a lot of sense. That is Bowser watching through the camera, and that's why he laughs when you die. It makes a lot of sense. That's fucking 8 degrees of checkers right there. That's fucking crazy. Started with an Atari 800. Said, I would love to hear your thoughts on the state of Game Pass. Microsoft announcing a ton of games leaving at the end of March, with nothing of note being added. The entire Yakuza series and MLB The Show 24 all leaving, with Avowed being the big addition recently. I'm guessing Sony is playing hardball by not having MLB The Show 25 on Game Pass because of COD being owned by Microsoft now. I think it's, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to speak from any position of authority. I'm not like a fucking, I'm not all that particularly knowledgeable. I think when it comes to MLB The Show leaving Game Pass, I don't think it's Sony being like, fuck you, you have COD, we're doing this. I think it's just they wanted X amount of money and Microsoft didn't want to pay it. Whereas they did at one point. I'm assuming they signed a contract for X amount of years of the show on Game Pass, and now this the contract is up, and they didn't want to pay what they wanted this time. I'm imagining that's what it is. As far as the current states of Game Pass, I have to say I let my Game Pass lapse for a majority of 2024 because I wasn't that impressed with it. I got it back for Call of Duty. I kept it for Indiana Jones. I'm playing Avowed on it right now. You do have Atomfall dropping on it this week, which is apparently kind of looking Fallout Stalker-ish. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, but that's coming out. And then you got to keep in mind that I think in April, you've got, what's it called now? That Catfish game, South of Comfort. I know it's not it, but I'm just drawing a blank on what it's called now. And then that RPG. How am I fucking forgetting all these games? I fucking had these in my head when I sat down to record this. It was from that Xbox Direct they did a couple of months ago. Xbox Direct. What the fuck was the games that were announced there? It's gonna drive me fucking crazy. I know all these fucking games. It's my goddamn job. Damn it. Here we go. South of Midnight. Thank you. South of Midnight is April 8th. And then Expedition 33 is out on April 24th. And then Doom is May 15th. So that's 3 big games. Plus they had Avowed last month and they have Atomfall this month. So I'm not going to sit here and like chastise anyone that lets their Game Pass lapse. Like if there's nothing on there you want to play, let it lapse. Like I said, I think Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and mine was canceled for most of 2024 because there was just nothing on there that I wanted to play. But I think this is shaping up to be one of the better years they've had in quite a while. So I'm pro what Game Pass is doing right now. We'll see what they've got planned for the summer, and obviously, hopefully, some of those games live up to the hype. But I think this is the best shape Game Pass has been in a while, personally. But that's also coming from someone that doesn't care about the Yakuza games and bought MLB The Show 25 on PlayStation, by the way. Mikey Haig said, hey, Adam, love the content. Thank you, Mikey. Been long overdue, but I wanted to thank you for giving me a reason to check out Outlast. Never really did a lot of horror survival, but I can honestly say immersing myself in the horror was some of the most fun I've had in gaming. It even dethroned my beloved Luigi's Mansion as my favorite game of all time. I understand it's too scary for you to play, but Lionsgate is going to be behind the Outlast movie in the near future, and I was wondering if you'd give that movie a shot or stay away. Best wishes for you and your family. That's nice. We usually get subpar wishes, so thank you, Mikey. Yeah, if you don't know, I think Outlast is is the scariest game I've ever played. I think it's creative as fuck. It is too scary. I'm just being straight up. I'm not good with horror. I don't do well with really scary things. Outlast is too scary. As far as whether or not I'll see the Outlast movie, I'm leaning toward no. But we'll see. I don't do good with scary movies either. I don't like being scared. I know I'll never get it. And I'm not chastising you, Mikey. I know lots of people. Some of my best friends are like horror junkies. I get some people love scary things in horror movies. I have never understood the appeal of feeling scared. I hate that feeling. So if it turns out to be good, but as scary as the Outlast video games, I'm probably going to pass. Because I'm a pussy. I can't handle it. I can't do it. It's too scary. I can't do it. But if you want to play a scary game, play Outlast. Scary as fuck. Fill up my mouth with farts. Said, hey, Adam, while listening to the Comic Zone episode, I was reminded of something nostalgic from my childhood and possibly yours. Did you ever watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? They had one called The Tale of the Ghastly Grinner, a comic book villain that came to life that was defeated by microwaves. It was dumb, but entertaining, and let's be honest, isn't that what life is all about? Finding things that make us happy no matter how dumb they are. So thanks for doing that episode because it brought back fond memories for me. Hey, I like to think our show makes people happy no matter how dumb it is, so anytime, Philip. I do remember, and I did watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which ironic answer right after talking about how I don't like scary things. But Are You Afraid of the Dark isn't as scary as fucking Outlast. Come on now. I did watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? But I can't think of a single episode that like stands out to me. So I can't sit here and say I did see that one. I feel like that one would have stood out to me had I seen it. A comic book villain defeated by microwaves. But I can't place it. So I do remember watching that and Goosebumps back in the day. But yeah, the Midnight Society. Oh man, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story, and then they would do the thing, and that's as far as I can remember. Good shout outs to Are You Afraid of the Dark? All kinds of nostalgia up in here. Works for me. Said, hey, Mr. Blank, I've always been fascinated by how different gamers pronounce character names in their heads, and it isn't until we say them aloud that we realize we say them differently from other gamers. I will donate $20 to the Stollery right now if you will indulge me and read aloud 20 character names from the game Hades. I'll do it. I won't do it for the $20. If you want to donate $20 to the Stollery, much obliged. Appreciate it. You can always save it for my extra live stream. But I am going to do it because I know the way I pronounce some people's names absolutely drives some listeners insane. And few things, it's maybe this is fucked up by me, but few things about the platform I have make me happier than just irritating people with my overlong intros or the way I pronounce words. So let's get into this. I've brought up the Hades fandom, the Hades Wikipedia here. I'm going to skip by people I know, like Hades, like Zeus, and I'm going to try to just read 20 that I don't know how to pronounce them. And I hope you all enjoy this. Here we go. Zagreus, Nyx, Charon, that's 3. Hypnos, Thanatos, Megara, Tisiphone, Electo. Chaos is easy. Zeus, I know. Poseidon, I think I know. Athena, I know Artemis. I'm trying to read ones I don't know. Aphrodite, I know. Where are the ones I don't know? Here we go. Dionysus, Demeter, Patroclus, Asterius, Dusa, Eurydice, Sisyphus, Boldy, Persephone. Is that all of them? I think that's 20. Skelly. Some of these I know, so I don't want. I was like Cerberus. I know Skelly looks easy. That's all the ones I can find that I don't know how to say. So I hope for you people that don't like it when I pronounce names wrong, I hope that really just fucking dug the nails in. That's what I'm all about. And for those of you that hate the infamous intro and you're like, I can't skip it because I can't get my computer to work, I hope this is really driving you crazy. And finally, before we move on, it's letter time. Duke Skywalker wrote in and said, hi, Adam, not sure if you might have covered this on a predictions episode, but I've been wondering lately how gaming might look 10 years from now. Thinking back on how things have shifted since 2015, we've had the rise of indies and Game Pass along with a big movement toward digital supply. Interested to hear what you'd guess might be in the tea leaves between now and 2035. I'm just going to give this a quick answer because honestly, I think this could make for a fun expansion pass episode down the road. But where do I think gaming will be 10 years from now? I think the PlayStation will still exist and we will be 10 years from now, 2035. Where are we now? We're 2025. The PS5 is... I think we'll be hearing a lot of rumors about the PlayStation 7, which will be a thing because PlayStation's not going anywhere. PlayStation is such a huge part of Sony's business. They're going to keep making consoles. I don't think they're going anywhere. The Switch 2 will have very recently been retired for the Switch. Do they make a Switch 3? I feel like they're due to do something stupid by then. Nintendo will still be making consoles by then. The Switch 2 will have been a success enough that they'll still be making consoles. Xbox will be out of the console game altogether. They won't be making games. They'll have cut some kind of deal where they've got like I don't know if Game Pass is on Steam or if they're working together or what. They'll be on streaming sticks. You know what? No, I'll take that back. In 10 years from now, Game Pass will be on PlayStation. Game Pass will be on whatever the next Nintendo system is. Game Pass will be on every computer. Game Pass will be on... You'll be able to buy streaming sticks. You'll be able to stream Game Pass onto almost everything. Microsoft, I'm not saying it'll be successful, but Microsoft has enough money in the bank that they can float this thing forever. Microsoft's entire business model will just be based like you can get Microsoft Word and Microsoft Windows on just about any fucking device you want, or Microsoft Excel, pardon me, like, you know, Office and all that shit. I think Game Pass will just be like that. Game Pass will be everywhere. I know some of you aren't going to want to hear it, but physical games in 10 years will be gone. Outside of companies like limited run games and special collector's editions. And most of those special collector's editions won't come with actual games on the disc. They'll just come with download codes and a case you can put on your shelf like some of them already do. I know you don't want to hear it, but it's anyone that doesn't think physical games are on their way out just isn't paying attention. That's going to be the thing. Mobile games will be the biggest moneymaker. If they're not already, they'll be huge. And Metroid Prime 4 still won't have released. That's my predictions for gaming 10 years from now. And we'll all be looking back on the Google Stadia and saying it was ahead of its time because game streaming will just be the norm by then. Yeah, you won't even be downloading games. You'll just be streaming them by then. I mean, maybe you'll still be downloading them if you want to, but streaming will be the norm. And you can write in and argue with me all you want. You're welcome to your opinion, but I would be shocked if physical games were still a thing in 10 years. Shocked. Like the norm anyways. Outside of special editions. Okay, we got to keep the ball rolling. Let's switch things up and get to our Smash It segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. And this week we're talking one of the best Game Boy games ever made with Donkey Kong 94. So I went with 3 more. I looked up a few lists of the best Game Boy games ever made, and I didn't want to put like Super Mario Land 2, Tetris, Pokemon, Link's Awakening on there. So I went with 3 of the highest praised Game Boy games that aren't those games ever. And that is Final Fantasy Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land 2, and Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land. And 33% of you said you'd play Kirby, remake Wario, and erase Final Fantasy. Let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I will tell you what the right answer was. John C500 said, play Kirby. It's an awesome little game. Wario doesn't get near enough love, so remake it and get it on the Switch too with purple and yellow themed cons, and then erase Final Fantasy. I never got into this series, and I'll take the hate, double secret probation, and be on my way. I would never put someone on double secret probation for not liking an RPG. Yeah, maybe Earthbound, but no. Sound logic. I get it. You're right. Wario doesn't get enough love. I agree with that. Nerf Herda said, play Mario Land 3 because Wario is an itch that can always be scratched. Well said. Remake Kirby because I think that little cute pink bubble needs more love. And then erase Final Fantasy because long play games that aren't pick up and play have no place on the Game Boy, turning my hands into a claw. That's interesting. I've never played Final Fantasy Adventure, so I don't know how long play it is on a Game Boy, but that's interesting because I feel like that's where those games shine because I can play them while I'm watching TV or something. So interesting take. Nerf Herda. Pie Guy 300 said, my handhelds growing up were the GBA and the DS, so all of these are new to me. I'm going to play Wario Land because I've always wanted to try them. I'm going to remake Kirby because I feel like Kirby platformers need more love in the modern day, and then I'm going to erase Final Fantasy Adventure as I'm just not a big fan of the old school JRPG formula. That makes me feel old as fuck. To hear those, like, I know that is the old school JRPG formula, but, like, to hear it called that, it's like when I see Blink-182 on an oldie station. You just rip my heart out of my chest. T-Dog said, how could you go wrong with Wario? I'll play that. Final Fantasy Adventure is an underrated game, so I'll remake it, give it a 16-bit look. And I've never been a big Kirby fan, so I'll erase that. I'm never going to get mad at someone for erasing Kirby. I don't hate Kirby, but Kirby sometimes he has it coming. She, he, it, they, whatever. Jamie Rostant said, play Kirby 2. I really enjoyed playing this game, and those animal buddies really steal the show. Remake Wario Land in the Super Mario World engine and give the same amount of levels. I genuinely think Wario Land is the closest we got to Super Mario World on the Game Boy. It had awesome power-ups, loads of secrets, and really pulled off the anti-hero vibe. And sadly erased Final Fantasy Adventure. I love this game in the collection of mana, but Secret and Trials of Mana were much better. I gotta say, I'm a little turned on by the idea of Wario Land remade like Super Mario World. I'd be bullshitting you if I didn't admit that. That's a little hot. I'm going with 16% of you. 16% voted the way I did, as did Hero Jones, who said, play Final Fantasy Adventure. I know nothing about it, but Final Fantasy has always been fun. You didn't play Final Fantasy 15, but all right. Erase Kirby. He can suck it up. Double secret probation. And then remake Mario. I love Wario so much, and that fat bastard doesn't get enough love nowadays. Agreed. I will say, so your double secret probation for the Kirby pun, and then an extra single secret probation for listing your play, remake, and erase out of order. Because a lot of you do that, and it fucks with my brain. But nonetheless, you have them in the right order. I do the same thing. I would play Final Fantasy Adventure because I never have. People say it's very basic and easy, which is what I like. And I think as a kid, I would have fucking adored this game. So I'm gonna give it to little Adam and say, let's play Final Fantasy Adventure. I'm gonna remake Wario Land. I just envisioned a brand new like Mario Wonder-esque game, but now I'm on board with Hero Jones, where I want it remade like Super Mario World. Or no, it wasn't Hero Jones. Who said that? Jamie Rostad. I think that's a great idea. I would remake it like that. And I'm going to erase Kirby's Dream Land 2 because I still haven't forgiven Kirby's Dream Land 1 for taking all my birthday and Christmas money and then losing in an hour. That fucking broke my heart. It's not even a bad game, but my heart remains broken. Thank you, everyone that played along as always. What have I been playing in the last 7 days? A lot of the same. Donkey Kong 94, so that's done. XCOM 2, I can't fucking stop. My God, it's coming. It's going to be a great review, I think. I'm hooked on MLB The Show. It's my new time waster. I've played a little bit of WWE 2K25. I haven't had much time to go back. And then Avowed is still sitting on my back burner. I really do want to play it. I like Avowed. It's just stuck behind WWE, MLB, and XCOM now is its problem. And I'm going to be firing up Okami soon to get ready for an episode in April as well. So that's it. Let's pause here. We'll let a sponsor in to do their thing. And when we get back, it's all about Donkey Kong 94, okay? We'll be right back after this. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, work sucks, I know. And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. All right, let's talk Donkey Kong 94. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hog the airwaves. And we had some comments this week, let me tell you. The big deal. Said the first time I played this, I was at a friend's house, and while him and my cousin were having a turn at Mortal Kombat 2, I picked up his Game Boy on a whim to play what I thought was the OG Donkey Kong. Needless to say, my mind was blown when I beat the first set of levels to discover an entire game that went way beyond anything I expected. I suddenly had no interest in Mortal Kombat and couldn't put it down. The Game Boy port of an NES game had no right slapping this hard, and I'd argue it's sneakily one of the best titles that little puke green machine had to offer. I agree. I think this is the most, from everything I have played on the Game Boy, and I've played quite a bit of Game Boy in my life, this is the most slept on game on the Game Boy, in my opinion. Sheriff Lobo, bring back Sheriff Lobo, said, this is such a special game for me. I acquired this game when I traded a neighborhood friend my holographic Charizard card. He gave me Battletoads in this game in return. After failing at Battletoads and realizing this game was not a typical Mario platformer, I felt totally ripped off. Mario can't jump on enemies to kill them? Bullshit. But eventually the puzzle mechanics got me, and those last few worlds are quite tough, almost less tough, with the timing of jumps. What a hidden gem on the OG Game Boy. Dude, is your holographic Charizard card worth like enough to buy a house now? Because if that's the case, listen, I like Battletoads and I love this game, but you lost that trade. I don't know anything about Pokemon cards, so I don't know. High Plains Drifter said, one of the 6 games I own for my Game Boy, and it's legendary one for myself. New abilities and portable Donkey Kong is just an all-around win. This is the top 3 Game Boy must own for this old wrinkly hot dog. Yeah, everyone's saying it. I agree. Everyone's saying it's in the top, and they're all right. You're all right. Johnny from Virginia said, yes, Adam, I'm so glad you're giving this one a go. When they announced the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, I first thought it was this one. I really wish it was, too, because this is the superior game of all the franchise, in my opinion. I distinctly remember playing this ad nauseum on many childhood road trips. It's a top 10 Game Boy game in my eyes. I don't see how it's not a top 10. I don't, we ran down the list. I don't see how it couldn't be a top 10 if you've played it. Scorch 57 2004 said, this is one of those games I owned as a kid and remember loving. I know I beat the game and that I definitely owned it. However, beyond that, I don't have many memories because once they brought out Mario vs. Donkey Kong, I honestly kind of forgot about this one. Gonna have to play it again tomorrow now that I can on my Switch. I will say it's one of those rare games on the Game Boy that many missed out on. So many good games on the Game Boy back then and never really got advertised or promoted. I remember it just being one of those games I found at Funko Land for cheap, and I liked Donkey Kong on the NES, so I picked it up and loved it so much more. I wish we had Funko Land up here. We had Toys R Us, which I know you guys have as well. And Toys R Us was cool, but I really like the name Funko Land. It sounds cool. And Roto Baggins said, this is a top 2 most underrated game of all time, and it's not number 2. I picked this up on a whim recommendation from a YouTuber about a decade ago, and I was blown away that I hadn't heard of it before. I feel the same way. Like, I'd heard of it. I knew people were bringing it up, but I'm shocked that I didn't play it. This was so right up my alley. Get ready for an incredibly positive episode of Remember the Game. -1 level, which fucked me around, but you're going to hear about that in just a minute, okay? It's time to get into this thing. I'm going to cue up some Donkey Kong music. And when it stops, my buddy Daniel and I are going to take you back to July 22nd, 1994, and talk about Donkey Kong 94 for the original Game Boy. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right, joining me via the blank phone this week to talk Donkey Kong 94 is a man that's part Kong and part Donkey. It's my buddy Daniel. I would say a little bit of both.
Well, I mean, the name Donkey Kong means stubborn ape, and that's not an untrue assessment of me.
No, I don't think so. How you doing, man? Good morning. Good morning. We're doing this I don't do morning recordings very often, so good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I got my coffee. I got my food. I'm going to bed after this. It's great.
Beautiful. Bed after the coffee. I guess it's the life of the night shift. I've been there.
Just coffee. Even when I work days, I'll have coffee right before bed. It never does anything.
No, I don't know. I can't just because I used to drink them after comedy shows all the time or before comedy shows, and then when I get home, I'd be wide awake. But I know the obvious logic is it's the coffee, but also comedy just fucks. I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah,
just I
it's
just
the
suck at
stress of
school.
that. Like I
Yeah.
come off work, even if I work like at 12 or something, I come off, I need an hour or two just to kind of calm down and relax. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and I like coffee, so I'm gonna spend that time having coffee.
It's the best. It's the best drink in the world.
Yeah,
Uh, and Donkey Kong 94, I don't know if
has
this
no
is as
coffee.
yeah, I don't know if this is as big of exaggeration as it might sound. Coffee is the best of the drinks. Donkey Kong 94, there's an argument that it's the best of the Game Boy games, I think. I was shocked.
It's up there. I cannot believe how good this was.
But people have been up my ass for years to do this game. And it's not that I've ever not wanted to. I like Donkey Kong. I like puzzle games. I was like, I just never got around to it. And then when it got added to Nintendo Online, the Switch Online, I was like, all right, we're gonna have to fucking finally sit down and play this one. And I 100%ed this one in about 4 days. Like it just took over my life. This little like, where in the fuck has this game been? Like I know some people have played it. I know people like it. There's a reason people are asking for it. But I really thought I had played most of the game, like the OG Game Boy sleepers with like, because what's their best? What's the best on the Game Boy? It's the Pokemons, the Tetrises, the Mario Lands. I think
Yeah,
those are
I
like,
don't
I
know
love,
about the Mario lands, but
well, 2 and 3 are good.
yeah, fair enough.
But like I like the Game Boy. You like everybody likes the Game Boy,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's known for its like robust library. Uh, and I think this game is like every bit as good as any of those ones I just mentioned. Floored.
yeah. Well, I think
Um,
the kick is this came out in 94.
yeah,
So most people had a Super Nintendo.
yeah. I think that's part of what hurt it was at that
Yeah,
point. The novel, like it's not that the Game Boy was dead, but the novelty, like for you younger listeners that weren't around when the Game Boy initially launched, it was like, holy fuck, we have Mario in the car. You know,
yeah.
it didn't even matter how good it was. It was just Mario in the car. But you're right. By
Well, when you're
94,
passing a streetlight, anyways.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you're right. By 94, it's not that the Game Boy had been left behind, but the Super Nintendo was out and the Super Game Boy was out, and people were kind of like, we're fine with this now. And I can't help but wonder, had this game come out 2 or 3 years earlier, if it, and I'm not saying it's not well known, like it's known. I saw the comments when I posted that we were playing this. People got excited, but I can't help but wonder if it would be even more praised had it come out a couple years earlier. Before, like you said, some people had kind of moved on from the novelty of the Game Boy. Because if you've not
Yeah,
played this one, I get how you look at it. 'Cause admittedly, I thought this at first when it was announced. When you look at it from the outside, you think like, oh, it's just a remake of Donkey Kong, like the original arcade game, which all-time classic for sure. But the type of game you play it for an hour, and then most people are like, all right, I'm done.
yeah. You
Uh,
know,
and that's how this one starts, because the first 4 levels are basically the first 4 levels, like the 4 levels of the Donkey Kong arcade game. And so, like, even when I started playing it, I knew what was coming afterwards. I was like, is it like, so what the fuck? How do they turn this into the puzzle game that it is? And I think, frankly, it's kind of brilliant. They throw these first 4 classic Donkey Kong levels at you. And then once you get through those 4, shit hits the fan. And then it becomes what would later become Mario versus Donkey Kong, where you're in these puzzles where you need to find a key, get to a locked door, and pick up some optional collectibles on the way through. And what starts out is very simple, because even this, like the first couple of levels, first couple of worlds, I was like, this is a pretty easy game.
yeah,
By the end, it's got some heat. It packs.
yeah. There's one of the other things I like is that it introduces new mechanics. Like this is the beginning of like the Mario's back cartwheel jump thing.
Yeah. Yes.
That's become iconic in a lot of later, especially the 3D games and things. But like yeah, you start getting new things, you start getting learning new tricks, and
Yeah, I was
uh,
shocked by that there's like some of his classic moves are in this game. Like running, yeah, and then pulling back and doing the higher jump, or the way you can do the handspring onto your hands and then do the
yeah,
Ninja Turtle front flip up onto his feet. And I was like, holy fuck, this is like Super Mario World doesn't have jumps like this. Like some of the jumps in this game, and like you said, they not only do they introduce new mechanics, but I think, and Nintendo, not to blow too much smoke up their ass, but one of the things I think Nintendo has always been very, very good at is introducing new things during a game without holding your hand, but also without throwing you into the deep end without any help. And the way that you're constantly seeing these little cutscenes after you fight Donkey Kong and he runs off, and then they'll kind of show you a mechanic in the little cutscene, and it's their way of telling you, like, hey, the next few worlds, you're going to need to do this, so pay attention.
Yeah, you're either learning and getting a new skill, or you're learning about new hazards, or it's
It's
nice. It's
brilliant.
gradual, and I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's
and it's
really well
not
done.
long and drawn out. Like it's a 5-second cutscene.
Yeah, and even the cutscenes are like they're like they feel like one of the things Pac-Man always gets praised for is that it had those little scenes between the levels where like you'd be chasing the ghost back and forth or the ghost would catch on the nail and things like that. They're almost like funny little ones like that. Like
Yeah,
as you play through the game, you'll play 3 or 4 like regular levels and then you'll have a mini boss fight against Donkey Kong. And then every time you defeat Donkey Kong, you get this little cutscene where he picks up I think it's Pauline. I don't think it's
yeah.
Peach. I think it's Pauline. He picks up
Yeah,
Pauline
I
and
went to looked up the manual. It is
oh yeah.
Pauline.
Yeah, so he picks up Pauline and runs off. And then you see these like stupid little skits where he'll like jump across like for argument's sake, there's one where there's lava on the bottom. Uh and there's like bricks in it that you're jumping on, or maybe it's I don't know. It looks like blocks of ice, but the water seems like lava. So I don't fucking know what it is. It's all green. I don't fucking know. But DK is jumping across these bricks, and as he lands on them, they're starting to sink, and then he's jumping off them, and then they're not sinking. And then Mario is doing the same, like in the little cutscene. And it's it's just letting you know, like, hey, from here on out, you may have to jump across these bricks. If you stand on for too long, they'll sink and they'll kill you. So keep moving. I again like I maybe I'm heaping too much praise onto such a simple little idea, but I was like, what a great little way to introduce these new mechanics, and it seems to do it constantly. I'm shocked at how many little mechanics and little systems are in a game that's on the fucking Game Boy.
Yeah,
Like, because you were so limited in what you could do on this fucking system, and this frankly pushes the Game Boy to the limit as
I was
far as
gonna
I'm
say
concerned.
this game must have been taxing it though.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I think that probably caught it a break is the fact that like it's a puzzle game, so it's not like like a
Yeah,
Super Mario Land 3 or something where the game's
yeah.
got to scroll. There's a little bit of scrolling in some of the bigger puzzles, but it's nice and tight, and then they're like, we'll load another one. And I really have to imagine doing a puzzle game like that buys the developers so much leeway as far as how much they can put on the screen, just cutting it into
I've
little
got to
bite-sized
agree.
chunks.
That's got to be.
So it's clever. It's fucking clever. And we'll get into some of the mechanics and stuff like that. Did you not that there's any shame in it if you didn't. You did beat it. I believe you said that.
Yep.
Did you did you get all the collectibles?
Uh, no, there's a few levels that I didn't get all three items for,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's anything bonus if you do or not. I think
I
it's just a
yeah, I don't like so then when you beat the game, you do that boss fight against Donkey Kong, and then did you do the extra boss fight against him where he's huge with his fists?
yeah. You just click
Okay.
the level again and it does that one.
Okay, so because I was wondering if because I did get every collectible, just because I wanted to see if there was anything bonus, and I thought maybe that was like a bonus for it. But if that's the case, then no. All you get like in every level, there's a hat, a purse, and an umbrella. I believe they would call it a parasol in a game like this.
They do in
Uh,
fact call it a parasol. Yes.
Parasol, and it's Pauline stuff, and you got to pick them up in every level, and they're optional. But if you get all 3, then you get a little mini game at the end of the level, giving you extra lives. And at first I was like, oh, that's cool, I like that. And then an hour into the game, I had over 60 lives, and I was like, well, this doesn't
Yeah.
seem necessary at all. It
Yeah.
throws a
Well,
lot of lives at you.
yeah. Every level you get, if you get all 3 items, and it's usually not that hard to get all 3 items.
No, it's not.
You get the chance to learn 1, 2, or 3 lives depending on the mini game. And then after every 4th level, when you fight Donkey Kong, after that it adds up how much time you've had left, and for every 100 seconds of time left combined, you get another life. So yeah, you
Yeah.
rack up extra lives like they're nothing.
Oh, they're
Like
just
you'd
they're
have to try to get a big game over in this.
agreed. Yeah, which I think it's probably a good idea because it's Mario
Oh
on the
yeah,
cover. A lot of kids are gonna play it. Got to
yeah,
make sure that kids can survive. I will say the hiding of the 3 individual, and I say hiding, it's a very loose term because they're pretty easy to find. There's just the occasional level where you're gonna have to solve an extra puzzle or something if you want to figure out how to get all 3 of them.
yeah.
I think it's a very clever way to artificially increase the difficulty and extend the length of it. because like you said, there's no real penalty for not getting them. It's kind of just if you want to get them. And they don't even add a ton of difficulty for the most part. But the fact that they're optional like that, I just think that's a very, very, very clever way of being like, hey, these are here if you want to go get them, and if you don't, we don't fucking care. Go play the game and have fun.
Yeah.
Because because the thing about it is, like, as much as I do love this game, uh, and I'm not even calling it a complaint, but there's not a lot of replay unless you
No,
want to
not really.
time chase or something, like, I guess. And it doesn't keep track of your. I actually think it'd be cool if it had like a in-game timer, but
Yeah.
that's
Told you how
minor.
long I don't even think when you load up your save file at if you restart the start menu there, if it gives you anything.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I want to make it's. You don't cheese it. This is not a game to be cheesed, but I don't think I ever went back to the title screen. Like, I always just loaded my save state and kept going.
I
So,
did once just because my Switch died at one point, so
oh
like because it just sits in my bag between shits. I played this a lot on my break at work.
yeah, and that's like I will like as much as I would have loved to have seen this game on the Super Nintendo with like more colors and stuff like that. This is the epitome of a good Game Boy game.
Oh, this is perfect for that. Like
Yeah,
the levels are just not particularly long, so like they're a couple minutes, so it's kind of like nice to just you do them for the little bit that you're out and about or you're doing stuff. So
yeah, they're like two. Yeah, they're bite size. You can
yeah,
save after every single one. Super easy.
it gives you the option to save after every 4. Well, I guess
Oh right, yeah, I use
with
save
the
state. Right,
Switch, you can
right,
use save
right.
staters to save or something.
But even after every 4, like outside
Yeah.
of and we'll get into them, there were a couple near the end that kind of fucked me around a little bit. I'm not even ashamed to admit there were 2 that I had to look up, and both of them I had the solution. It was the execution of the solution that was fucking me. There was
Yeah, I
oh
had
my
one I
god.
had to look up, and it's I kept in my head. I'm like, okay, I've got to go this way, and I couldn't figure out how to make it work. And then when I looked it up, it's like, no, you go to the left. I was like,
Oh.
oh,
So
fuck, yeah. And then as soon as I looked up that, I did it first. Like, just go left. I'm like, oh, yeah,
right.
and then you can get this.
And let's get into that. So like a game starts out very easy. Like I said, if you've not played it, once you play the basic Donkey Kong levels, then it breaks into Donkey Kong trying to run away from Mario. And it's cool. You go through like a city, you go through like a forest, you go through a volcano, you're climbing a castle. There's all kinds of cool levels. And
Yeah,
in the long and short of them is in every single level, there's a key somewhere. There's a locked door. In some levels, there's multiple locked doors, and in some levels, the locked door is not able to be seen, which I only figured out because being the fucking ADD riddled clown that I am, a new level would open up, and every time the new level was like showing its little scene of Donkey Kong escaping through the door and shaking his ass, I would pick up my phone and like look at it, and then come back, and then I realized that a couple of the later levels I wasn't paying attention, and I have no idea where the fuck the door is to get out.
yeah. I had that a few times. I had one. I'm like, okay, I know it was around here somewhere. And there's one you have to make one of the spawnable floors underneath it. I'm like, I don't know where it is. I know it's somewhere. Fuck this. I just killed myself. Let the level restart.
Yeah.
Paid,
Yes, that
paid
was the one that
attention.
really fucked me. It was one
Yeah.
thing when there was like 5 or 6 doors and you had to just get to the door, the one that was not fake. That was whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was one level in particular, like 2/3 of the way through the game, where the door is literally like invisible. It's like a panel in the back of the screen. And like you said, you have to pick up one of those blocks because there's these blocks you can get throughout the game where you can either spawn a ladder vertically or you can spawn a platform horizontally, pretty well wherever you want. And you need to pick up the horizontal block and spawn it right underneath the invisible door to be able to go in the door and get out. And I did the exact same thing. I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't even look to see where the door was. I like solved the puzzle, got all the collectibles, got the key, and then I was like, wait. And then I realized like I have no idea where the fuck I need to go now. Like no idea. And then I had to die and fucking restart as well. Piece of
Yeah.
shit. Piece of shit.
Yeah. And
But
go down from 96 lives to 95.
yeah. I was like, I can't spare these lives, you fucking son of a bitch. So I thought that was really cool. And that is the basic gist of the game. And it starts off again, like the first couple of like if you've played Mario versus Donkey Kong, this is the predecessor. It's the
You
same
can
shit.
yeah, exactly. This is you can see exactly how they went from this to those.
Yeah. And
Like
and
this
I
is
will
very much the precursor to those.
Yeah, and I will sit here and recommend them as well. Especially if you play this after listening to this episode and you're like, that was fun. Highly recommend Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Really solid puzzle games. Well, this one starts out super easy. Like the screens don't scroll in any direction. It's just like one still. Like you can see every bad guy on the screen. You can see where all three hidden items are. You can see where the key is, and it's just a matter of. It's like in the first couple of worlds, it's really not even a puzzle. It's just
No.
a execution. Climb the ladders and not get touched by an enemy. Like it's not hard. But as they get more complex and they start adding more of the jump mechanics or switches that make things move, or in some of the levels, oh fuck me. The only levels that irritated me a little bit were some of the levels where Donkey Kong Jr. was working the switch.
Oh, that fucking little monkey.
And you had to just there was as far as I could tell, there was no way to trigger him to do the switch. You just had to wait him out
Yeah.
till he'd pull it
And
again.
it seems to be random because I'd have some of them where he'd like would pull the switch right away and I could get through the door or whatever that he's blocking. And then I had other ones where I'm just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there.
Yeah. Oh fuck! It started to piss me off a couple of times. I was like, "Come on!" And then like add in the fact that in some of these in the late game, there's a couple of these levels where not only are you waiting on that little shit to pull the switch, but there's one in particular I'm thinking of where you're climbing ladders. You're climbing ladders that his switch like retract. Actually, I don't know if his ladders or if his switch causes the ladder to extend and fold up or not, or if that's just random. But I know his switch opens the doors like to go from one hatch to another hatch, and there's these fucking
Yes.
enemies walking around all the walls and the ceilings and stuff. And you're trying to get through these doors into the next room. You can't touch the fucking enemies, but you can't go anywhere until that little shit pulls the switch. And I will say, like, well, it is cool that they added in all these extra jumps and everything. It's not the tightest jumps you've ever experienced, and you get trapped in these little rooms and you're trying to avoid getting touched by enemies with very little wiggle room, waiting on that little fuck to pull the switch. And like you said, it seems random on when he's gonna pull it. And he's just like, "You little fuck, I'll fucking, you should be extinct. Like, pull this fucking switch."
I'm
Oh,
just
there
gonna
was
say there's a reason why Donkey Kong Jr. isn't in future games.
yeah, fuck. Although I will, because I know if I don't say it, someone's gonna write in. I may be wrong, but is Donkey Kong Jr. not Donkey Kong now? And Donkey
Uh
Kong is Cranky Kong?
technically like Donkey Kong that we have now, because in the Donkey Kong Country games, Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong, and he
Yeah.
refers to DK as his grandson. So
Oh, so maybe
technically, Donkey Kong Jr. would be DK's dad.
well, I wonder whatever happened to him.
Well, he's not in the show. He wasn't in that show in the 90s.
Yeah, they put him in a fucking cage where he had to pull a switch to fucking get out, and little shit couldn't figure it out. That fucking
Yeah,
switch. God damn it, that fucking switch made me
yeah.
so fucking angry.
A nice
Um,
reference, though. I like that Donkey Kong in this one has his tie.
Me too. Yeah, dude, you know what? I just have to say, like, again, considering this is a Game Boy game, which pretty limited in what you could do with your pixel art and stuff like that on the Game Boy. The some of the fucking sprites in this game, especially DK, are spot on.
Oh,
He looks
whoever
great.
was doing the animations for Donkey Kong was having a blast.
Yeah,
Like for sprite art, like he is so expressive. And everything he does, like whether it's the stomping, the throwing the barrels, if he grabs you out of the air if you get too close,
yeah, I like that
and
too.
flings you across the screen.
Yeah, and then
His butt wiggle when he crawls through a door.
that's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, by far.
if you've not played it, at the beginning of every single level, it starts with Donkey Kong carrying Pauline, like running into the room, and he always like shoves her through this little locked door, and then kind of squeezes his way through in like classic cartoon big villain sneaking through little door style. And he just shakes his ass right at the camera for a minute before he gets through. And I was like, I don't know if this was put in to just entertain children or not, but I'm a 41-year-old man who found it
I
hilarious.
laughed every time.
Yeah, it was a great little shtick. And then you just see the help bubble coming up from the door, and you'd have to find your way through there to go get her. So I want
Yeah.
to talk about some of the puzzles that stumped us. I want to talk about the boss fights, and I want to talk about some more of the gameplay mechanics. But I don't know how long this episode is going to go. So let's just get the sponsor out of the way now, and then when we get back, we'll get into the rest of that fun stuff. So give us a second to inhale some of that sweet coffee, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we were talking about some of the mechanics, and it's one thing that Mario has like his extra jumps. I'm a big fan of the handstand. You can like
I
hold
like the
down and jump.
handstand. I never actually like one of the features the handstand does is you can catch some of the falling objects on your feet. And
Yeah.
I almost never did that aside from like one of the later boss fight levels where you had to.
Yeah, I didn't really do it either. The only
Yeah.
time I really used it was for the big jump or yeah, like when you're fighting Donkey Kong in some of the later stages, he throws his barrels at you and when you jump and land on your feet, when the barrel hits you instead of it rolling by, it'll flip onto its side and you can pick it up and wing it back at him. But I love the animation of it, and I really did find the jump like I got pretty fluid at like going into the handstand and then doing the spring jump out of it pretty quick, which
Yeah.
becomes almost a necessity at the later points of the
Well,
game.
you have to. That and then there's one level in that the last four. I replayed the last four a couple times just because I wanted to see if there was a way to do some things, and that's where the last save point is. But you have to do like where you're running up to get to Donkey Kong on the disappearing blocks,
Yeah.
and you have to time your jumps, and you have to get that cartwheel jump in just perfect because you have to just miss barrels by just a bit,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it
not the
really
barrels, the shrinking mushrooms.
yeah, oh, those fucking there's some levels of these fucking like think Super Mario Kart, like the poison mushrooms are floating around. And I found those to like the first time I ran into them, I thought that's pretty rad. Like who doesn't love a good shrinking mushroom? This is fine.
Yeah.
And then it hits you, and usually you just have to wait it out for like 10 or 15 seconds till it
Yeah, it
wears
does
off. And you get
doesn't kill you. It turns you tiny, and so you can't do the fancy jumps or things. But otherwise, it's whatever.
yeah, but
But
I don't believe you can climb ladders when you're small
yeah,
because that's
you can't climb ladders and you can't do the big jumps. So it only takes 3 or 4 seconds, and then you're back to normal.
yeah, but there was one level in the later third of the game where you're trying to climb up and I don't know if you're gonna I'm trying to figure out how to explain it so you'd remember which one I'm talking about. There's 4 or 5 different conveyor belts and then a whole bunch of ladders on the left side of the screen. And then in the right side of the screen, there's kind of like a sealed off box where the key is. And you need to climb up to the top and hit a switch. But those fucking mushrooms are raining down on you like crazy.
Yeah,
And if one hits you, it shrinks you. And then you have to really keep your head up. It's hard because you're trying to stay on whichever conveyor belt you've climbed up to at that point. Because if you fall off, you just have to climb up all of them again. But while you're trying to stay on this conveyor belt, it's still raining mushrooms on you. So you're trying to avoid hitting another mushroom so that you can keep moving on. And that one, like, it wasn't hard in the sense of it killed me. Frankly, I think, well, no, it's not. I was going to say the timer killed me more than the villain, but that's not true. But
no.
I
There's a
that
few of them.
one,
There's a few of them though. It was yeah. That was one of them where I'm like, it's just because I'm like I figured out everything I had to do, but I kept hitting those mushrooms,
yeah. And
or
then
I
like,
the
and then
jump,
again,
or Donkey Kong would close the fucking gate.
yeah. And again, the mushrooms will kill you, but the timer will because you can't fucking complete the level because every time you try, you get hit by another fucking mushroom. And it's like I'm not even mad. It's not a bad level. I'm not rage. It was just I was like, it got to the point where I was like, God fucking damn it. Fuck off with
Yeah,
your mushrooms. And let me climb this fucking level. I did like that every level had a timer on it. The timer's pretty generous too.
yeah,
There like the only time I ran out of time the only time I ran out of time, but the only instances in which I ran out of time were usually levels like that poison mushroom. Like I don't remember ever hitting a level where I didn't figure out how to beat it within the time. It was just trying to figure out the execution.
yeah,
Especially
yeah.
because there were a few levels where one mistake in the execution, one jump, or wait, once you picked up that fucking key, if you threw it Mario 2 style at an enemy or whatever, you had X amount of seconds to get back to the key, or else it would disappear and go back to wherever it spawned, and you had to
Yeah.
hike back, and that fucked me a few times.
Yeah, there's one level where you have to throw it on the conveyor belt. It goes past the spikes, and you have to climb down and switch the belt over, and then pick it up at the other side before it disappears. And
Yeah.
some of those, I'm like just jumping on it on top of it to pick it up again, and then it goes back. I'm like, well, fuck off.
Yeah, there was a couple where it was just
Yeah,
like I mean maybe I'm incorrect, but there were a couple of those levels where because especially in the later parts of the game where it expects you to pick up the key, throw the key, get back to the key and pick it up again before it disappears. And every time you pick it up, you reset that timer of when it'll disappear. But there were a couple of them where the movements you had to make to get back to the key before it disappeared were so precise That like
Yeah.
one missed jump, maybe you grabbed a ladder or something, and you knew you were fucked. And it was starting it all from scratch again, hiking back to the fucking key and picking it up. And I like that because I'm glad the whole game wasn't as easy as the first 2 to 3 worlds, or I wouldn't have given it as high a score. Like I wanted a little bit of bite back. But there were a
Yeah.
couple that really, again, it was great that you could do all these jumps, but some of those jumps and like he was tricky to handle at times. He kind of did his little like stutter stop. And
Yeah.
so it was hard to get him to stop right on a ladder to grab it and things like that. And it could be challenging. And I frankly found some of the hitboxes when it came to avoiding enemies very unforgiving.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
but other
It
ones
did
were
not have
fine.
that, but
Like some enemies, it felt like they went to the pixel on whether or not they'll hurt you. And a lot of
yeah.
enemies, you can stand on top of them and pick them up and throw them and stuff as well. But then other enemies, it felt like there was just a giant floating box of hate around
Yeah.
them. And if they came near you, you were fucked. Fuck.
Yeah. And then some of them you can't pick up. Although it's funny because he keeps trying to do the pickup animation, so it looks like he's just struggling to poop.
Yeah, I liked that as well. So I
Yeah.
like that they threw in that pickup mechanic. Mario 2. Shout out to Mario 2. I like that
Yeah.
pickup mechanic. Another mechanic I really liked was in some of the levels you could get the classic Donkey Kong hammer where Mario just runs forward, like swinging it up in front of him. But I loved that you could, like the key, you could literally like you could have that hammer and then throw it up in the air, and then like you could throw it up in the air and it would go up onto the next platform. And if you don't catch it before it, like you have to catch it, it won't land on the ground. But you could throw it up in the air, climb the ladder, and if you're to the top of the ladder before the hammer has passed you on its way back down, you'll catch it and start using it again.
Yeah.
And as you know, especially as people that have played Donkey Kong for fucking 40 years, it felt pretty beast mode to just be using that. There's a couple of levels where you could, if you got good at throwing that hammer in the air and catching it, you were just going scorched earth on everything in that level.
Yeah,
And
it was great.
That was satisfying.
Yeah. And then there's the two different hammers. There's the regular one that disappears, and then the other one that you can reuse, but it can also blow up the bricks.
Yeah.
That's another one where you had to have your timing precise because you had to throw it up, go up, throw it up, go up, so you could smash bricks at the top.
Are you thinking of the one level where if I'm remembering it correctly, there's like one of those conveyor belt platforms, like the elevator platforms, and then the key is at the very top of the level, the door is at the very bottom, and what you need to do is get a hold of those hammers and destroy all the platforms taking up space between the bottom of the level and the top of the level so that you can get the key to the bottom to get to the door. But while you're doing it, there's like these 3 fucking enemies walking around fucking with you. You're trying to avoid all of them. That level, that was one of my favorite levels in the game because that one fucked me around for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know why. I could see what to do, but that level gave me a lot of trouble. That fucking level did.
Yeah. Very. Aside from the fact that, like you said, Mario kind of has a bit of a stutter. He's kind of got a bit of a walking on ice.
Yeah.
Like that. But for the most part, it's not very many of the deaths or anything did I feel were cheap.
No, same here. Same here. I was the only time I felt the death was a little bit cheap, and if you want to hit me with a get good, I would hear it. But the only time I felt the deaths were just a little bit frustrating were, again, I really felt the hitbox on some of the enemy designs was a little bit.
Yeah.
Come on now, a little bit.
Yeah, there's the one near it's about 2/3 of the way, maybe a little more, but it's got, it's one of the DK Junior ones, and it's got like the little porcupines going around the small levels.
Yeah.
And if you land on the blocks that fall down, then they can get back out. And those guys, like if you fall in one of those little rooms that they're in, you're fucked because there is no room for error to try to avoid them in there.
No, it's not nearly forgiving at all to get away from them. So, but I agree with you. Other than that, the other thing about this one, and I don't think it was cheap, but when you fall, like if you fall a distance, sometimes he'll land and kind of roll. And then if you fall a little farther, he'll kind of face plant and he'll be out of it for a few seconds and then he'll wake up. And then there is a cap where if you fall too far, he just dies. And I never really got a feel for how far I could fall before one of those things would happen.
Yeah, same thing. And because there's times where I feel like I fell farther and I was fine.
Yeah.
And other times, yeah.
It was consistent, I think, but I couldn't find it. Dude, because there's that one level where the whole level is just one giant drop The key is at the top, the door is at the bottom. But on your way down, there's like 4 or 5 of those spring blocks where you
Yeah, you
touch
have to.
them.
Yeah, you have to land down, and you have to just land on them. And
Yeah, and so as you're falling, you're trying to steer yourself into the next spring block so that you can build another spring block anywhere you like. You can plant it anywhere in the game, and then you need to plant it just underneath you so that you'll land on it to spring yourself up to get to the next spring block to work your way down. And that one gave me a lot of trouble too. And I thought it was one of the better puzzles in the game, but it was just the execution of it. And I guess it was get good, but I was like, fuck, I kept missing the fucking springs, or I'd shoot myself up and miss a spring block, or god damn it. So, but it was one of those one more tries, you know, like I
oh, so
never,
many times did that. I was like coming back from my break the one time, and my coworker like, "Did you fall asleep or something?" I'm like, "No, we're stuck on a puzzle."
yeah. There was only one level that I came close to rage quitting, and I'm curious if it was the same one for you. One of the mechanics in this game is Mario can jump up and grab like a wire or a rope and then swing around it. And then eventually you hit the button and he'll like go flying in whatever direction he's swinging. And there was one near it was in Worlds, I think it was 6-6, because I had to finally look it up. And when you get to you have to like, you start in the bottom left corner, you climb up some platforms, you jump across a row of platforms, and then you go up on the right-hand side to the third level. And then there's a clothesline or a wire or whatever, and it's on a 45-degree angle. And you have to grab it, swing around on it, shoot yourself through the air, and you land just on the other side of a spike pit. And the wind is blowing against you as you shoot into it. So when you land, the wind is blowing you back into the spike pit. And I must have missed this fucking jump 30 times. And I finally looked it up and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And every video I could find online, people would swing on this clothesline, land on the other side of the spikes, and Mario would roll forward and they could get up before he rolled back into the spikes. And no matter what I tried, I could not get him to roll forward. So I finally just kind of cheesed it, and I used the handspring jump. And if you're good with that jump, you can just jump across the spikes and get there. But it is like you got to be pixel perfect with your jumps. I was never able to complete that launch off the wire. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I remember the level. I think I just lucked out because I got that jump the first or second try.
Fuck. I don't know what I did. I don't, to this moment, I don't like, only time I raged at this game, I was getting so pissed off because I was like, I'm looking up YouTube videos and people in the comments are like, every time I land there, I fall back into the spikes. And they're like, yeah, you need to push the opposite direction and which one you want to roll or something. I must have pushed every direction. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I was using rewind. I was using save states, just trying to figure out some way to make him land this jump. And finally, I saw one guy in the comments was like, I could never get the wire jump to work. So he's like, I just handspringed across. And then I did that first try. But it was just, you had to like, because you know, when you go into your handspring, he does that little jump forward onto his hands. And then you hit jump and he goes the big jump forward. So you literally need to space it. So when you do that jump onto your hands, you land right on the edge of the cliff and then jump over it. But I never got it. I don't know. Maybe I could not for the life of me figure out that fucking level. Only time in the game I came close to rage quitting this fucking game. That fucking level. God damn it. Fuck. Was there any
Yeah, I
that
feel
gave
like
you a
that would
lot
have
of
been
trouble?
justified. But yeah, I think I just lucked out because thinking back, if it's the level I'm thinking of, I could totally see how you would struggle with that.
I just couldn't get him
Because
like he won't roll forward. I would land on my jump and he would get rolled back into the spikes every fucking time. I don't know I don't know. I couldn't even find a tutorial online to tell me how to do it. It was just people doing it. So I knew I was doing it right, but I don't know how to make him roll forward. I don't know.
yeah, I didn't even know you could roll forward.
Fuck.
I'm
That
sure
fucked
there's times I did it, but
and like and
the
when
the other issue I had, like that swinging the rope and jumping mechanic, especially with the 45-degree ones, was great. But figuring out how fast you had to be spinning to get how far took me a few tries.
yeah, because it was like as you get him swinging, he's going around in circles on the line, and the longer you swing, the faster he swings, and the faster he's swinging, the further he goes when you hit jump. And yeah, it is touch and go at a couple
Yeah.
of points, especially dude. And then in the last couple of levels, you're on those wires, and the little electric sparks are coming towards you while you're trying to do it, and you're
Yeah.
trying to haul ass, but you can't go too fast, but you can't go too slow, and
Yeah.
it does a great job of scaling up the difficulty.
Yes.
And that's part of the reason that 6-6 level makes me so angry is I'm like, it was only like fucking 3/4 of the way through the game. And there was nothing after that gave me half as much trouble as that one fucking jump. There were harder levels, but nothing else gave me as much trouble as that one fucking Fuck me. Were there any levels that you can remember that really fucked you around? I have one other one that kind of took me a long time.
The big one for me was 7-7, and it's you had to. It was another one where you had to like you really were really cutting it close when you had. There's times where you had to throw the key, get to it because you had to go down into the water, get the key, go underneath. You had to avoid use the key to kill some things, and you had to use the ladders and the platforms quickly. And
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
platforms because the
Yeah.
platforms and the ladders disappear after a few times, but if you put another one up somewhere, it restarts that timer. And
Yeah.
so you had to really be careful about, putting stuff up at the last possible second. And
That's the one where you had to, yeah, you went down and got the key, and then you had to go underwater back over to the right,
yeah,
climb a ladder, climb another ladder, and then build the platform at the door.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that one fucked me around for a long time too, because I was playing with the sound off, and it never clued into me that whenever you pick up another placeable ladder or platform, the music would reset and it would extend the life of all your other ones. So I was
yeah,
trying to figure out how to do it without that. And then when I came back, I had my headphones on and then realized the music. And I was like, oh, but I tried so hard to get back to that door without realizing I could extend the life of the platform. And I thought
yeah,
like, I just assumed I wasn't fast enough because you can almost do it. And that's the thing about it is
yes,
like it teases you into thinking you can do it that way because you're so close. Fuck, that one fucked me around as well. That's a good one.
yeah,
Uh,
uh,
there was one where you start out at the very top and there's a really long platform going to the right, and that's where the door is up there. Then there's an elevator going down, and then you come back to the right. The key is in like a locked room. There's these icicles falling onto spikes you need to get past. And that one fucked me around forever too, because I thought I had to get the key out, then get up top, pull the switch to reverse the direction of the elevator to go up, go back down, get the key, go over to the corner and get on the elevator and ride it up. If that makes sense. And
okay.
then
Oh, yes, I know which level you're talking about.
finally, all I did was I kind of just I left the elevator going up right away, and then just kind of fell down the elevator, like landing on the platforms the whole way down.
Yeah,
And then just wrote it back up instead of having. I don't know if that was the way you're supposed to beat it, but that was the way I did it. Instead of trying to figure out how to get the key out, get up, reverse the direction of the elevator, get back down to the key, and get on the elevator before it disappears. I don't know if that was the way, but it's how I fucking did it.
yeah.
So
The some of those levels with the icicles, I thought were really clever because like the way you have to use it, you get the icicle to fall on spikes, and then so you can use it as a platform to get up.
yeah,
Or ones where you have to jump on the icicle as it's falling to be able to make the jump to the next level.
yeah, I love that. Where you had to
Yeah.
literally, you had like those were among the most precise jumps in the game.
Yeah.
Where you had to literally land on icicles as they're falling by and then jump off them quickly. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that as well. Another thing I liked about this game, and I don't say these words very often, I actually really liked the boss fights. I hate boss
Yeah.
fights, but they were
Yeah.
really good in this one.
They were typically because it's always a multiple of 4. And yeah, every fourth level you're versus DK, and you're either trying just to get to the platform where Pauline is, or the last one of each world there you have to actually throw barrels at him.
Yeah,
But they were clever. They weren't hard. They weren't repetitive.
no,
Like
because
despite the fact that you were doing the same thing,
yeah,
none
exactly.
of them felt like that's okay. Oh, it's this again.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is considering that every single boss fight either revolved around just trying to climb up to the top of the platform and chasing him off, or trying to throw 3 barrels at him, they found a way to make them not repetitive, despite the fact that it was the same thing, which I
Yeah,
was very shocked by. I agree with that 100%. I really enjoyed the boss fights in this one. Because like even when he's throwing barrels at you, for the most part, he's throwing one to the left, one to the right, one down the middle, rinse
yeah,
and repeat, and you know where they're going. But it's still it's challenging enough that you can't do it on autopilot, but it's not
yeah,
anywhere close to challenging enough that it's really going to frustrate you or anything.
yeah,
Yeah, very clever. And then, dude, the final boss fight, like the final version where he gets
yeah,
huge and then it's like his angry head in the background and he's slamming his
yeah.
fists as the barrels are falling. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love that one. And then yeah, you have to avoid getting squished by the fist. I mean, that it was all classic, and back to precise timing. Like the barrels are falling down. You have to catch them on your feet, then jump over to land on top of them to pick him up, because if he smashes his fist down, the barrels all break.
Yeah.
And it's
I died there a couple of times, and then I finally got lucky, and that's what she said. I finally got lucky, and I got on top of one of his fists and then got up to where the one barrel just sits on the platform in the middle.
yeah,
And then it was a piece of cake. Then you're just picking that one up and throwing him out. You don't have to worry about dodging his fists anymore. But getting
yeah,
onto his fist to get up there was much easier said than done.
yeah. Yeah,
So
most of the times I got up. Every time I got up there, because if when his fist pounds while you're standing there, if you're not, you have to jump to avoid the shockwave. Because if you're on a platform, it knocks you down.
yeah. And
So,
yeah,
and every
exactly.
time I got up there, yeah, he would hit the thing, and I'd fall back down again.
And then when you're fighting him on the ground, especially toward like the end of the boss fight, from the time the
Yeah,
barrels land, because the barrels are falling from the sky and you need to handstand to kick them over so you can pick them up. But by the time you get out of the handstand animation and go to pick up the barrels, it feels like a fraction of a second before his fists slam and break the barrels. Like it is
yeah,
so precise.
yeah. The number
Um,
of times that I jumped out of the handstand just to be instantly killed by the barrel because I did it too soon.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought it was really well done. And again, using what the Game Boy had for horsepower, they just made the whole background black and then just put the still like the light features of Donkey Kong's face there. And that was all they had to animate. And it worked beautifully. Very
Yep.
smart. Definitely one of the cooler boss fights. I did not play it at all. I know some people asked. I played it on my Switch, as I know you did as well. So I didn't see the Super Game Boy version of it, but I did look it up online to see. And this was one of the first games that actually had a little bit of extra juice when you dropped it into the Super Game Boy. And I wish I could have played it this way because seeing it with a little bit of color, like it popped even more so.
Yeah.
Brilliant game. I floored, just floored. I really thought I had played all of the great Game Boy games because there's not a ton of them. And shut my mouth. Throw another one on the pile. This one is as
Yeah.
good as anything on the Game Boy, frankly.
Yep.
Like,
And after you beat him and kick him off the tower, King Kong style, the final screen there is they takes does the classic. It's a picture of Mario, Pauline, Donkey Kong, and DK Jr. and they're all friends. So this is why
yeah.
he gets invited to Mario Kart.
Yeah, I guess that's how it explains it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
I
I
like
know
that.
you kept kidnapping my girlfriend, and then you kidnapped the monkey's dad, and this and that. But bygones be bygones. Let's all be friends.
Yeah. We need one more for Mario Kart. Come on out. So,
Yeah.
I did quickly want to say too, one other thing I really liked was in World 9, the final world of the game where you're climbing up the castle tower to get to him at the top.
Oh, I want. Yeah.
They skip all the collectibles and you don't have to worry about getting a lock in a door. It is literally and it really, after all these levels where you're doing all that, it really does create this like almost this sense of urgency where you're just trying to rush up the tower, and it becomes like the original Donkey Kong where the whole key is to just get to the top and then he'll grab her and go up to the next area.
Yeah.
I really liked that change right at the end. It created this artificial sense of like, move your ass, let's go. I liked that a
Yeah.
lot.
And the one level, it has all the chains hanging down. You got to get the keys up to the locks, and it locks DK Jr. in the cage.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he doesn't show up for like the last 3 or 4 levels.
Yeah, that was actually a great pull. Like
Yeah.
what is that from? Is that from Donkey Kong Jr. initially?
Yeah, Donkey Kong Jr., which was Donkey Kong 2.
Yeah,
Uh,
where you're
where
doing the chain
DK's
things.
in it. Yeah.
I love that system where if you grab one rope, you'll climb slow, but you'll go down it fast. If you grab
Yeah.
across 2 ropes, you'll climb really quick, but you'll go down really slow.
Yeah.
I love that. When I saw that, I was so excited. I was like, that's fucking sick. So what a game. I loved it. All the other criticism I had, I don't know about you, but whenever I would beat a world altogether, it like does this thing where the screen like flashes at you a few times. And when it did it the first time, I thought the game had just crashed or something. And because
I
it
did
just
that
had this,
too. And you have to hit the button to continue. And
it looks like
like,
it's frozen. Like it
yeah.
looks like it's just
Yeah.
flashing.
So many times I'm like, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever had the Nintendo Online freeze, but so many times I was playing this, I'm like, did it fucking? Oh wait, yeah, hit the button.
Yeah. Every time I beat a world, I thought, it fucking crashed on me. And I know it
Yeah,
didn't, but I'm an idiot. It always felt like it. So
yeah. Well, I feel better that it wasn't just me.
no, not in the least. Not in the least.
So,
3 save files too, which shout out.
yeah,
You see that Pokemon? 3 save files.
yep. Three
Yeah.
times for Adam to delete your save file.
Yeah, exactly. I know the reason they did it is because they could sell more copies.
Yeah.
But dude, I was talking about that with my brother just the other night. And because he's playing one of the classic Pokemon's right now.
Nice.
And we were just talking about like everyone and their mother that knows anything about video games knows this, but it's just wild to me that they were able to get away with that, where they were like, hey, there's two versions of the game. If you want all the Pokemon, you're gonna need to buy both, and you can only save one file on each one. So if you have multiple kids and they all want to play, you're gonna have to get them each their own like what a fucking like the earliest version of the Pokemon cash grab that we've all become so familiar with. It's
Yeah.
fucking
Well, I
wild.
mean, when you do it from day one, people can't say that you sold out.
No, it's true. That's true. I'm not even the world's biggest. I know we're talking Donkey Kong, but it's just I got the thought because it's a Game Boy game. I'm not even like I'm a very fair weather Pokemon fan, but like from a money making perspective, it's probably the most brilliant franchise in history.
Oh,
Like
for sure. I
hundreds
don't even
upon
like
hundreds.
Pokemon, and I think so.
It's insane. Like hundreds and hundreds of the creatures. You can make them all into stuffed animals and stickers and books and shirts and posters, whatever the fuck. Sell multiple copies of the same game so that you can get all of the characters. It's not even DLC. It's fucking, you have to buy multiple copies of our game. Imagine today if like, I don't know, fucking Smash Brothers. Like imagine if there was Smash Brothers Ultimate Red and Blue and each one only had 75% of the playable characters and you had to buy both to get all of them. People would fucking riot. But Pokemon does it every generation and we keep fucking buying them. What a brilliant
Hey, don't look at me.
fucking
This is one time I'm not part of the problem.
fuck. Everybody else fucking is. Anyways, Donkey Kong 94. I'm good. You good? I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Good.
good. I think I got the last thing I had, the music, not horrible, but not bad.
Yeah, it's for Game Boy music, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't have my headphones in for most of the time I was playing it until I fucking, again, wish I had because I would have realized a lot earlier how to beat that one fucking level. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I usually had on my phone a YouTube video or something playing that I was listening to while I was playing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
When it
sounds
comes
on
to,
just enough so that I could hear the timing for those boxes, but otherwise,
yeah, when it comes to the Game Boy, like there's not a lot of must hear music. And you gotta remember too, like when you're actually playing this on a Game Boy, that was precious battery power.
yeah.
So fuck that. I need to focus here. How the fuck I guess 94. That's pretty easy.
That feels like the easy one, yeah.
Yeah.
There,
All right.
it's either that or there's 101 levels. I looked it up.
No, I like 94. Let's go 90.
Yeah.
101 that's too safe. 90, well, it's stupid. But anyway, 94. Go nuts. You're the guest.
Like all my criticisms are really minor. It has a monkey in it. It has two monkeys in it, even if one of them is an annoying little shit. I'm gonna go with a nice 87.
Oh shit, that's I was gonna go good. I wasn't gonna go that good. That's fucking pretty good.
Like
That's good.
I can't really complain. The game, like none of it never felt cheap. Like I said, it made me want to be better at it. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted because I don't really have any major complaints either. I'm like, frankly, I'm very impressed for a Game Boy game. It's fucking really good. My only complaint, and is the somewhat lack of replayability.
yeah,
Which like you got to remember too. Back in these days, I don't even know if that really mattered. Like I don't even feel like that's a fair criticism because this is in the NES era where like, well, I guess it's Super Nintendo era, but like this is the NES era where it was like I could beat Mario 3 in 2 hours and then I'm playing it again. So, I'll give it 80. I'll give it an 80 out of 94. I'm impressed. It's very good. If you're out there and you've played Mario versus Donkey Kong, play this. If you've not played any of them and you like puzzle games, play this. And I don't know, just play it. It's good. It's really good.
I was
It's on
gonna say,
Nintendo
even
Online
if you're
now.
just bored, play this. Like
It's
well worth it.
The only reason I could see not enjoying this is if you just detest puzzle games, which I guess I don't know. I mean, everybody hates something. So, but I love puzzle games, and this is among the best puzzle games I've ever played. Very good.
This is the very definition of a puzzle platformer.
Yo, yeah, top 10 Game Boy game like by a mile.
Easy.
Like not even it's got to be the Link's Awakening, the Pokemons, a couple of the Mario lands, Tetris, and this.
Yeah.
And then maybe Dr. Mario. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's got to be the. Anyways, Daniel, good job. Thanks for doing this on a Tuesday morning. This goes live in 12 hours, so I got to get it cleaned up. What else do you have going on? Anything?
Sometimes I stream on Twitch. Stupid _ monkey, no vowels. Sometimes I pop around in the Discord and cause shit there. Lately it seems to be anytime somebody needs new roles assigned.
Yeah, we have a lot of rules in there now.
Yeah,
just keep adding them. That's it.
Well, we just added ball fondlers for the some basketball game that just came out. I have no idea what the game is, but
beautiful. Our Discord is the best. It's the worst and the best at the same time.
Yeah, be a Patreon. Join us on Discord, guys. It's fun. Yeah,
come by our Discord, buddy. Great job. Thanks as always. Links in the description if y'all want to find his streams. And I don't know. We'll do it again. I don't know, at some point. I don't plan that far ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't even know what I'm doing later today.
Yeah, same here. So, all right, buddy. And that is going to do it for this week's episode. Daniel, thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday morning to give me a call over coffee and talk a little Donkey Kong. And to every single one of you nerds listening to this, maybe your first Remember the Game, maybe your 328th, maybe some other random number. Doesn't matter. Thank you so much for the support. I'm grateful. I know there's a lot of retro game shows out there, and you picked ours. And that makes you a winner. Or, well, it makes you a participant. So congratulations. And I want to just say a special shout out to the countless number of hot dogs that have been climbing into my anus trying to get me to play this game for years. Because now I get it. It's pretty good. Every once in a while, you guys get yourselves a win. This is a win. What a fucking... Man, we've been on a hot streak of good games lately. Haven't we? Like, Comic Zone last week was fire. This is a great fucking game. There will be no Remember the Game next week, first week of April. I take the first week of the month off for Remember the Game. Try to work on games for the show, but I'll dig something out of our Patreon archive so you got something to listen to. And then the hope, don't quote me on this, but I'm hoping to cover XCOM 2 on the 9th of April. If not, it'll be on the 23rd of April. For the 16th, we're going to be covering a wrestling game to get ready for WrestleMania weekend, and it'll be the long anticipated, often requested Day of Reckoning from the Nintendo GameCube. I'm going to attempt to get through Okami this month as well to review it. When it won our Patreon poll tournament extravaganza, I had no idea it was as long as it was. So I'm going to try to get through it, but long games take longer. I know it sounds dumb, but it's true. And then, I don't know, I'll pick something short to sneak in there as well. Thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate it. Don't sleep on our Patreon. Check it out. It's pretty good. $3 a month. You support us. You get lots of bonus episodes. It's really, there's no losses out there. Patreon.com/RememberTheGame. Follow me on the social medias @RememberTheGame on Twitter and Instagram. And we're on Facebook, but I don't remember what the handle is. But if you look for us on there, you'll find us. Oh, yeah, our subreddit, dude. Right now, we're up to... What are we up to right now? 979. We're 21 members from 1,000. So if you're hearing this, if you're on Reddit and you're not in our subreddit, get over there and join us and get us to 1,000. That'd be fucking awesome. And I'm on YouTube. I got lots of Let's Plays over there and lots of fun projects in the works, all right? Thanks a lot, everybody. If you are a Patreon, come back tomorrow for Expansion Pass 249, where we were talking about classic RPGs we want to see remade. And this is your official warning. 8 days from right now, all Patreons, Expansion Pass 250 will be the long-anticipated Nintendo 64 game draft. 4 of our regulars will be drafting 10 games each in an attempt to draft the best lineup possible to win votes from the community, and then we'll donate some money to the charity of the winner's choice. Can't fucking wait. I'm going to thank some patrons and get out of here. Thank all of you for listening. Leave us a good review if you don't hate it, and I'll talk to you the next time I publish one of these. Take it easy. Cheers. Remember Das Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I puke up every single week without all of your support. And these people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, which means not only do they get all the extra podcasts, they can watch live recordings of those podcasts, they can hang out in private streams with me and chat while we do them, and they get a shout out at the end of every Remember the Game and get to hear me mispronounce your names. So we're going to go in newest to oldest order this week. Yeah, let's do that because I don't feel like clicking the category and sorting it on the sheet here. So a huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer Slick Motherfucking Rick, Just James, Exotic Chaotic, Trooper Galactus, Devin Collins, Shane's World, Mike Hag, Bot Fokker, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Game Boy Ganon, Horrorstalgia, a podcast, Akiris Network, Jinxie425, Legendberry, Thunder Leaps, Doogie Bowser MD, Captain Assberry Juice, Zen Paladin, Flater Flav, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, Combo Chuck, Savage Boosh, Super Cyan Safarioth, Dazerath, Wreck-It Ralpy, Conebread, Shank the Rat-Faced Bastard, Ryan Stemmerding, Captain Steve N, Super Jess, VOS Rager, Wilco McCracken, Justin Blair, Diablo Spartan, Moncal, David Schroeder, Girthworm Jim, I like that, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, S, Spider Cat, Alex McIntyre, Scotty McGee, Toby OP, nothing could possibly go wrong, Daddy's Secret Little Chubby, Justin Tate, Ryan Whitcomb, Ida Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Elephant Calves, Chaz Hammond, Put It in H, Kevin Kellums, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Plow King, Too Much Karma, Matt Zeus, Bula, Blobby Rogers, Brian Richmond, Sabin, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Adam Blake still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Tornado, Shoeboxers, Mark Sneed, E-Man Trucker, Fill Up My Mouth with Empty Poos, The Supreme Chozo Rizzo, Fallen Snow Kiku, Penguin Milk, B Money, Chris Hill is scared, that could be anyone's ass, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Benjamin Atkins, Faded Sufferance, Alex Ramos, Sour Goat Face, Max Sandin, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Starbucks Pool Cleaner, Lord Longrod Bot Eugen Dom II, Marcus Mendoza, Infinity Rage, Because 19, Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Leroy Jenkins, Nordak, Pee Wee Squitters, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, Ryan Donahue, The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Nick Creature, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Rated Excellent, Just Car Pranks, Please Refrain from Tasting the Knob, Itchy Nutsuru, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Works for Me, AB Killen, Monsteristy, Boner, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Adam Needs to Play Bowser's Fury from Maverick, T-Bear87, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Hitchy Poo, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Sabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Wimp of Stupid Stooges, TTRPG, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Hits Meals, Isaiah, Squeak Nuts, Sleeper Hit, Nerdy Hybrid, Donnie the Dude Walter, Sam Carpenter, Drugs are bad, okay, Dawn of the Adult Children Podcast, James Juan Francesco, Max Legroom, I uncancel my Netflix to watch wrestling, General Fury, Cody Richardson, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hagel Waffle, Earl, Archangel Otaku, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Wyatt the Surgeon who is not a surgeon Rowe, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy 99, Gabe, Bat Babadoo, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westridge, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Growlywog, Laces Out Dan, Jake Carter, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler, Juris Dr. Mario, Miziru, Dude Where's My Game, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dalk, Jameer Williams, DBXJ, Madam Nutsich, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple, Captain Black Silver, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Sheriff Lobo, Just a Fish, Randy Barrett, John Woodruff, Daniel, Jeff Bergeron, Zonko 504, Titan 420, Dean Donian, Squints, Johnny from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869. I'm going to be honest, I had to stop and swallow my saliva. It was too much. G9PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan, A-Town, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Little Buddy Fufu89, Eldest Millennial, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Dano Dissect That Film, Jort King Keegs, J Nasty 15, Sharonic, Joe Bucks, You Makeshift Mallow, Magic Money. Dude, that might have been the best batch of shutouts I've done it forever. I am 52 days without marijuana right now, and that's the fucking, that's the payoff. I can say names fast.